Well, here I am at Shea Doublelift talking with Croissant, who has been cursed now. This is his punishment, I guess, after things went poorly in the previous year for him. He now has to coach a group of 5 uncoachable players for near airport. Croissant, how did this end up happening?
So, quick story is just they were looking for a coach, and they were like, should we do a rotating set of coaches? Should we like do A, B, C, X, Y, Z coaches, tossing around names? And then Biofrost actually threw out my name, and I didn't even know why until I talked to him earlier. And it's because we coached together for a Game Changers initiative in 2022, right before the DRX T1 Worlds. And so that's like when we first interacted, and I have only spoken to him once or twice since then. But all of them, I guess, were like, "Oh, I had heard good things," and they were like, "That sounds good." And so then Peter reached out to me, and it was completely out of the blue. I was like rock climbing, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm getting a call from Doublelift." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Was it a situation where Biofrost was saying he really liked coaching with you for the Game Changers thing, or he just thought you were a good coach?
I just knew.
Or was it just like, I just know a guy? Like, I think I know a coach.
If we need someone, right? No, but I think that it was a combination of like, oh, we've heard good things, but also, and none of them had worked with me.
Yeah.
And I'd never worked at any of them, but as like a baseline, they're like, it's at least worth a shot.
Yeah.
And then we know he's unemployed, so.
Yeah, we're gonna get a great deal on this guy. This video is brought to you by Boot.dev. Love having them as a sponsor because so many people have reached out to tell me that they've tried Boot.dev after our sponsorships and really enjoyed it, learned a lot of cool new skills. For instance, you can learn back-end web development from start to finish in Python and Go. Listen, the smartest way to learn to code is to make sure you're never bored so that you can stick with it long enough to reach your goals. And you can't learn to code without actually writing a lot of code and building real projects. That's why Boot.dev is so cool, because it turns learning code into a game. For instance, you can earn XP, levels, achievements, and complete quests to get a top spot on the global leaderboard. And if you ever struggle to understand a concept, Boots, a powerful bear wizard that's been trained on each lesson, can walk you through your issues. He's an AI that will ask you questions to help you understand rather than hand you the answers. One of the things I love about Boot.dev is that they never want a student to spend money on something that they feel is not helping them. That's why they offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy and a free demo of every course and its interactive features. So go to Boot.dev and use code TravisGafford to save 25% off your first year if you choose the annual plan. Thank you so much to Boot.dev for sponsoring this video. Okay, what do you imagine? Well, I mean, obviously you've had some experience so far, but like, how much of this role is going to be like analyst versus coach? Because I can't imagine any of these 5 guys are going to be like, okay, I'm going to put together a scouting report on our opponents. Mm-hmm. So I assume there's going to be a lot of that for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess how do you see yourself in this role?
I think it's, I think because it's flexible and everyone's very chill and they've been great so far, it's pretty much what I want it to be. But yeah, there's an aspect to it where they would definitely not like, none of them are going to be making PowerPoints, hopefully, unless because like, here's why I should be allowed to play like Tarek jungle, right? Slide 4, right? But I think it's, some of them do actually ask me pretty granular questions, like, hey, like, has any Varus taken TP recently? And then I'll look that kind of stuff up for them. And I also think that one part of this process that will make it, like, we don't have the ability or structure in our schedule to do like 4 to 5 scrim days a week. Like some teams might, whether within North America or even like in Europe, etc., like Los Ratones. But my goal is that even if we have a week where we are underprepared in some sense, that I can like compensate for that by creating like materials and presentations for the players that kind of accelerates or like makes things more efficient, right? Like shortcuts. And then, past that, it's like a lot of it will just be people management, regular coaching stuff. And then for the more analytical stuff that like even the players might not be interested in, it's like that's kind of stuff that I hope to do as part of my own brand or on my own stream that like people might be interested. And then if people are really responsive to that, or like it's doing well, then it's like I can take the best bits that people enjoy and be like, hey guys, so like, can we talk about this again, right? Or and so yeah, that's just kind of like, I think some of the early ideas I had for it.
So if fans are frustrated that the team is not picking something or they're doing something wrong, they should go find your stream and convince you that it's important.
Yeah, because I will always listen. You know, I always believe that good ideas can come from anywhere, even a rat. And but you'll get banned from the other chats, right? So
yeah. So they could backseat the team through you, is what I'm hearing. Okay, I was also wondering a little bit about draft because, you know, I know that everyone's impressions now, especially from watching so many of the tier 1 things, international events, is you just imagine players and you've got a coach behind them and the coach is kind of running the draft. So do you have much say in draft for this stuff, or like how will that go down?
So far, it's been a lot of kind of just priming people to think about what they want to play in advance of, because otherwise I think people might have even seen like in some of the early couple of scrims where they hadn't really found their footing yet, that maybe it's like 3 seconds left and they're like, oh shit, what do we pick, right? So like priming the conversation earlier in the draft, even if you're on like 2-3, knowing what you're going to pick on 4-5 already, and then also doing draft meetings like muted or off stream before the matches. It's stuff that like I just try to do. But I think, you know, there's no like perfect percentage. It changes per team. And there's been some teams where I talk like 80% of the draft and I have like a iron fist, you know? And then there's times like this where it's like, if it's for content, like Ming is just gonna, you know, has a gun to my head and he's like, I'm picking Scion Jungle this game. And it's like, we had an agreement that if we went 2-0, we would pick Scion Jungle, but somehow it appeared in the second game and it almost stopped us from going 2-0. But I think draft is always fun. I think Fearless adds an even more fun factor. And then there's also the rumor that, or it's like just being extended for the rest of the year. So I thought it might be weird for fans because we might be on Fearless and then the rest of the world goes back to regular. Because that was kind of what it was looking or panning out to be. But now it's like, there's a lot of reporting around the idea that this is going to continue. So that's cool. How are you balancing the ability to sort of insert yourself into the team and the discussions versus sort of the egos and expectations of this team? Because I do think in the LCS, you as a coach probably had the ability to be a lot more forceful. Like you were somebody, especially because you also had the GM role, that's like, hey, if you're not playing by my rules or you're not doing this, I have the ability to bench you. Oh, that never happened, first of all.
I'm not saying it ever happened. I'm saying you could have done it. You know, like the power dynamic was way different. This team has the ability to bench you. So I guess how are you navigating that? Because that's got to be different, you know?
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing is that it's all out there, right? So there's never going to be a question of like, oh, like this happened or that happened or he said, she said. It's like people can see. If I handle a situation well, then I think the team will be better for it, right? And if I do poorly, I think I'll get feedback, and then I'll try to handle it that way. But my goal is like, I want to make sure I navigate things smoothly. But one thing that I think that hasn't really been talked about is there's so many potential cons to like a thing like this, a team like this. And obviously people are excited about the pros, but not the pro players.
I knew what you meant. The pros and the cons. Yes.
But I think I'm worried about people and the community ganging up on certain players, right? And I want to protect players and stop that from happening, because I've always felt that for players, even on LCS teams, where people like they see even less and they they jump
They
on
just
the players.
scapegoat somebody, yeah.
But the thing is, now that you see more, there's like little things that people can like highlight.
Oh,
right? Like,
Spica said that this should happen, and like it didn't happen or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Spica's been the target for a lot of it, but like later on it could be Blade or Peter or anyone. And I just want to make sure that doesn't happen because like competing is difficult enough by itself. Competing and being a public figure, an even more enhanced public figure through streaming, that's a lot. And people have really bad days. That doesn't mean that they're bad people, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's my job, and it's I'm not too worried about navigating conversations because I think I've always been good at mediating, but there is a learning curve to like doing it in front of other people. And it's harder to also like, a lot of it is I would pull people one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
I think in a stream team, there's an expectation for stuff to happen like as 5 people, but hopefully there's enough space where I can do that and have it not be like, content.
Yeah.
All right, come into this Discord call with me alone.
Yeah.
Mordecai's
streaming it. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess my last question is, I just did the interview with Peter and Eugene, and they were both being very clear about how they're like, listen, we don't want to be a 100-hour week, sweaty pro player, lifestyle, grind, all that stuff. And so they're like, our goal is to see how well we can do off of, right now, at least it's 2 scrim days a week, maybe some other stuff. Obviously, they're going to be practicing solo queue and all that stuff. For you as a coach, I don't mean to pry into the specifics of your agreement with the team, but are you looking at this as something that you're going to be doing 40 hours a week, or how do you manage this, especially in relation to the team?
Yeah, that's something that I'm still figuring out, but just the simple part of it is I only have 2 goals for the year, and one of them is to make the biggest impact that I can on North American League of Legends. And for a long time, I felt like that was through like, I want us to have better international performances.
Yeah.
To get there, I need to like win the LCS, right? And or joining Team Liquid, like trying to level up one team at a time, but that's kind of limited. And so I think there probably will be some weeks where I'm trying to work like extra hard with the team because we have to ramp up at a certain part of the season or playoffs. And then there will be other times where it's more about like, maybe I can make the teams being more chill. Maybe I can make my own content about like this player in the LTA or like this kind of like phenomenon that's going on. And just try to level up the region as a whole. I think this opportunity has been really cool even so far because I've even seen people be like, I started off as D4 and through these scrims, like I've just applied things that they've talked about and I'm already master like after this short period of time. And so, trying to contribute that way. And then the second goal that I have is just to be in China for Worlds, ideally with a team, but if it's like a European team because all the North American teams are full or something like that, then that's like, it is what it is. So I think this is also this is a great opportunity in that sense too, because I can just get more, like, otherwise I have to like DM people and like, go through channels like that, but now it's more like obvious to people, like this is what I want to do. I honestly, I've talked to LPL teams before about working with them, and I just want to, as big of a T1 fan as I am, like Korea can't win 4 years in a row. Otherwise, LoL esports in general is like gonna suffer for it, I think. But
so your goal is go to Worlds and try to help stop the Korean train.
I wouldn't use those words specifically, but yeah.
Very good. Where can people find your stuff? Because I was enjoying watching your stream. It was a different perspective on watching a coach watch the team that he's coaching during it. So where can people find your stuff?
You can find me on twitch.tv/croissantlol or Twitter and the same. Yeah.
And we've been doing a little bit of a prediction show too for some of the stuff. So for those of you that haven't seen Croissant on the channel yet, you can check out that stuff if you want to see more of him as well. So either way, thanks so much. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to do. It is currently almost 1:30 a.m. because we've done a very long shoot here for the team and all stuff.
Thank
I'm
you
sure you
for
want to
having
sleep.
me in your lovely home, Travis.
Yeah.
Can I sleep in the guest room?
Yeah, you know what? You could definitely sleep in the guest room of my home. I hope you enjoy the beautiful kitchen and all that stuff. Thank you so much for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things NACL and near airport right here on my YouTube channel.